I shared the recipe for the cookie that I sold over 1 million of the other day, and I had questions on, but can you do them with buttercream? You sure can. So that's what we're making today. The cookie itself is gonna be the same. Then I'm also sharing my buttercream recipe and showing you how to make these rosette cookies. And of course, they could be done as fancifully as you prefer. We would sell these in the bakery though, and it's a little bit of a thicker cookie, and then it does have a lot of buttercream on top. My personal opinion, if you think this is too much icing, then you shouldn't get it. You should get a different cookie. And if you don't like buttercream, then the buttercream cookie is definitely not for you. Anyway, let's get baking. I'm just making a half batch today because I don't need that many cookies. The full batch is 2 cups of sugar and 1 pound of butter creamed. Once that's creamed, we're just gonna add 1 egg and a teaspoon of vanilla. Mix that. Add in our dry ingredients, which is 1 pound, 10 ounces of flour, teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of salt. And that's it. Just bring this together. It should mix for about 1 to 2 minutes. Now, anytime you're making a cookie, you do want to use softened butter. Depending on how soft your butter is, will determine how soft your dough is. So if your room is nice and cool, then you're going to have a firmer dough like this. I live in Colorado, and it's actually quite cool in my apartment at all times. So my dough is firm. But if you live somewhere like Texas and it's warm in your house, then your dough is going to be a lot softer, in which case you might want to pop it in the fridge for a few minutes. But typically it's fine to roll out just like this. Because I'm putting buttercream on these, I do want a little bit of a thicker cookie. I'm going to roll these out to 1/4 of an inch thick. When I'm just glazing them, I do a little bit thinner than this, but because the buttercream is going to be a thick icing, I want to make sure I have a good icing to cookie ratio. You just cut them out into whatever shapes you are doing. I'm going to do several shapes so that I can show you some different methods. And most of the time, the dough is going to be firm enough that you can pick it up by hand and put it on your tray. You can also have a spatula nearby in case you have any that stick and you need to pick them up. Typically, the interior of the circle that you've rolled out will be thicker than the outside edge. I always like to cut around the outside edge and then re-roll it. Especially when you're doing tons of these cookies, every little bit extra that you get helps. And it's going to make them all the same height on your pan, and so they're going to cook more evenly. So you just pop them in the oven at 350 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes until they're lightly browned around the edge. And now for the fun part, the buttercream. We use a very traditional buttercream recipe, and I know some of you guys are going to absolutely hate it, and that's okay with me. I honestly think it's like the Wilton recipe. We started using it in 1998, and we never really changed it, and it worked great for us. So if it's not your thing, use your favorite pipeable buttercream recipe, whatever that may be. Mine is 1/2 pound of butter, 1/2 pound of Crisco, 1/4 cup of water. I like to put hot water in just from the faucet to help cream it together, and vanilla. Get that extremely smooth, and then add 2 pounds of powdered sugar. And that's it. It's about 3 minutes to come together and be nice and creamy. And I just add all of my powdered sugar at once. You want to start off on a very slow speed, kind of stop and go. You could also take a piece of plastic and cover it if you want. Once it starts to come together and not proofing, then you can turn it up and you can whip it on a medium-high speed. I've sold millions of cupcakes. We would sell 1,000 cupcakes per day per store. And this is the buttercream that was on all of them. So super delicious, super popular. Our most popular cookie was definitely this recipe, but dipped in a glaze, which is in a previous video. But we would always do some buttercream ones. And I'm just gonna show you a super easy way. So 1M tip. You could use anything you want. You kind of do that rosette style, like this. And then to jazz them up, we would typically put a little standing sugar for kind of whatever holiday was nearby. And I always put the sugar where the cookie ends. Sometimes we'd also do like a holiday sprinkle. And I just always put the sprinkles kind of right there where they end. So it's just a simple, understated cookie. So obviously these kind of quick and easy, simple to put together. Always a crowd pleaser. Of course, you can do any kind of shape, and these are all decorated with buttercream. You can do fancier designs, and of course you can do extremely fancy designs and fancy techniques, but these are just quick, easy techniques to throw together for a party or something. So buttercream iced cookies, always a hit.